Hey guys, my name is Danny and I'm your life and relationship coach. And I wanted to talk about the feeling of being bored in your relationship, specifically if you feel like your husband is boring. This is actually a common topic that comes up in my one-on-one coaching sessions. And oftentimes, most people don't even realize that they've gotten to this place of boredom in the relationship until it's a little bit too late. And when I say too late, I don't necessarily mean that the relationship will be coming to an end. I just mean that it's going to take a little bit more work to be able to get to a place where you do not feel like you are bored. So if you feel like your husband is boring, if you feel like you are not connecting with him the way that you used to, I wanted to provide you with some recommendations, some tips, some tools that you can utilize in order to feel like you are getting out of this kind of boring place, right? So the first thing that you want to do is self-reflection. It is always important to go internally and ask yourself questions. Try to figure out why you are bored. One of the most common things that I tell people, and in my one-on-one sessions, something that I say to people all the time is people only know you as well as you know yourself. So if you don't know yourself and you don't know what makes you happy, you don't know what you find to be exciting, how is it that you expect your husband to be able to know? Right? So you have to sit with yourself and you have to go internally and say, okay, what is it that's making me feel bored? Is it that we are lacking communication? Is it that there's a lack of intimacy? Is it that we don't go out on date nights? Is it that the kids are always a priority and our relationship has taken a back seat? And then try to figure out what's at the core of that. So what is the emotion that's driving that? Is it the feeling of not being supported? Is it the feeling of loneliness? Is it the feeling of sadness? And once you're able to identify those things, it will help you to be able to process those emotions and then sit down and have a constructive, productive, and efficient conversation with your husband. So, segueing from the first point is the second point, which is communication. Communicating with your husband your needs, your expectations. I always tell people, assume that people are not mind readers. I think when we're in a relationship for a long period of time, we just assume that our partner should know everything. They should know what we're feeling. They should know what we need. They should know what our expectations are. But the reality is most of the time, they don't. And when you set this unrealistic expectation in your mind, you only disappoint yourself. And what ends up happening is that this overflows into the relationship and you get to a place where you're stuck in this negative cycle of bickering and arguing and fighting. Assume that your husband knows nothing. So when you sit down to have a conversation with him, let him know what your needs are. Tell him how you're feeling. Now that you've identified what the core issues are, you are now able to effectively and efficiently let him know. And it's important to not make the conversation so heavy, right? This isn't one of those like breakup conversations or I want to get a divorce conversations. It's really just a conversation about coming to an understanding of each other and really expressing to your husband like, hey, I'm a little bored. I'm not feeling super fulfilled in the relationship. There are certain needs that aren't being met. Let's talk about them and work through them together. The third thing is try new things. So once you have had this conversation with your husband and you've said, this is what I need, I'm not feeling fulfilled, I want to try these new things, that's where you actually start to try new things. And one of the things that I usually recommend to couples is create a bucket list. You create one and he creates one. So as individuals, you create your own lists and then you come together and you see what things you guys have in common, right? So is there anything that you guys want to do that you guys both wrote on your list? Tackle those first. Do those things first so you can check those off. And then what you can do is start going through your individual lists and looking at the ones that you may want to do that are different from your partner and switch off. So maybe you guys do yours 1 week or 1 month and you do your husband's 1 week or the next month. Experiencing these new things together brings in a level of excitement, right? It starts to kind of reconnect you on an emotional level because there's some adrenaline that's involved. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. And whenever you step out of your comfort zone, there's going to be some adrenaline that's involved. And that adrenaline actually helps to connect you and to reattract you. There are scientific studies that talk about the correlation between adrenaline and attraction. So utilize this to your benefit. The fourth one is change your perspective. I say this all the time. It's about mindset. So how are you perceiving your husband? How are you perceiving your marriage? If you are bored and the only dialogue that you have running through your mind is, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, that's going to further just solidify the fact that you are unhappy and not feeling fulfilled. Instead, change the dialogue in your mind. It's not necessarily that you're bored, you're just in a very stable relationship. Right? And stability is something that is necessary in order to maintain and sustain a relationship. Now, there may be some aspects of the relationship that are missing or need to be edited, but at the core, at the fundamental base of the relationship, there is stability, which is why there is kind of a level or a sense of boredom. But the boredom can be fixed. So don't hyper focus, don't harp on that dialogue of saying you're bored, you want something else. You're bored, you want a new adventure. You're bored, you don't know if you want to be with your husband anymore. Try to change the dialogue. The fifth and final tip is change things up in the bedroom. Oftentimes when we are in a long-term relationship, when we are in a marriage, we fall into a routine, right? The monotony of life just kind of gets us to a place where we stop prioritizing the relationship. We start prioritizing work. We prioritize the kids. We prioritize the duties around the house, the errands, and all of that stuff. And the relationship takes a back seat. And when the relationship takes a back seat, one of the first things that suffers is intimacy and sex. So make sex a priority. Make it something that is fun and exciting. Don't do the same thing over and over and over again. Try to switch things up. And I've mentioned this before in other videos. There's a game that you can purchase on Amazon, and it's called Sex Dice. And if you are the type of individual that has issues coming up with new ideas or being creative in the bedroom, this kind of eliminates that pressure because it does it all for you. It's just you both have to be open to that concept and to that idea in order to really benefit from the game itself. If you guys related to this video, if you liked this video, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. I love open dialogue, so if there's anything that you feel like I missed, if you just feel like you got a lot out of the video, if you have any questions, just leave your comments in the comment box down below. I love reading them. If you just want a little bit more detail and you want to dive a little bit more into the topic itself, just visit us at happilycommitted.com, where we have a multitude of different articles and blogs and products and videos related to this subject and many other subjects as well. If you want to book a one-on-one coaching session with myself or any of the other amazing coaches that we have on the staff, you can also book directly through the website. Again, my name is Danny. I'm your life and relationship coach. Hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you guys soon.